RAND study goes out of its way, and Sauder observes that in principle and in practice, there's nothing at all to prevent this system from being extended right out under the world's oceans and going into having an intercontinental system that would connect, for example, North America and Europe using a circumpolar route. And in fact, he says it's very technically feasible because once you're down in the bedrock, you're beneath the ocean. And anyway, if you choose the route carefully, you can ensure that at no place would you be more than 1 mile undersea. So that's certainly well within the technical capabilities of the American mining engineering and geological engineering expertise.
Let's talk a little bit about, if we can, Parsons and the Otis Elevator Company. Can we start with Parsons and talk about some of the work that they do and the areas that they specialize in?
Yes. Well, my understanding is that there are two companies. There's one called Parsons, and there's another a corporate entity that over the years and the decades has been called Parsons, Quaid, Brinkerhoff, and Douglas, I believe. And it has, both of these entities have been involved multiple times down to the decades in building a wide variety of underground facilities, including for multiple government agencies. And they interface with other corporations with cutting-edge civil engineering and underground excavation technology and expertise. So these companies' names pop up again and again in the underground excavation and civil engineering literature. They're well known in the industry. They're not the only ones, but they're certainly two well-known ones. I've been told in one case that Parsons has built an underground facility, undersea facility beneath the Gulf of Mexico. I've been told about other manned bases beneath the seafloor in the Gulf of Mexico, and I believe that they do exist.
Can we stay with the Gulf of Mexico for just a moment? In reading your book on page 43, it says that they did construction under the seabed in the Gulf of Mexico, 2,800 feet deep, and that they were the premier contractor for this, and that the work that they were doing was to share petroleum down there. Do you think that possibly this had to do with the Gulf oil spill? Or do you think it's just a coincidence that really is not connected, but maybe there was something that happened down there?
You know, anything I would say would be speculation. I can only say that the entire scenario with the British Petroleum Gulf of Mexico disaster it's bizarre, it's strange. There's certainly things that we, the general public, have not been told about that whole episode. There's no doubt that the behavior of British Petroleum and the United States government, multiple agencies within the United States government, has been bizarre by any ordinary standard, whether we're talking about the U.S. Coast Guard, the Minerals Management Service, or the spin control that's come out of the Obama White House. It's all just highly strange. So I don't know what really happened. I can only tell you that something went very badly wrong and was not fixed, and probably even is not fixed and cannot be fixed to this day. So whether there may have been anything to do with some type of manned undersea facility, I can't say. I simply don't know. I can tell you that the technology exists to make manned facilities beneath the seafloor in the Gulf of Mexico. I can tell you that I've been told there are bases down beneath the Gulf of Mexico on the seafloor and beneath the seafloor, but I have to leave it there because I am not working inside of any compartmentalized project, and I've never had a security clearance. So in terms of my research, there's a certain point to which I can go, and beyond that, I remain with my nose pressed up against the glass, pressed up against the nose of Alice in Wonderland's looking glass, if you will, trying to peer in and decipher what's going on.
Okay.
And through my research, I have figured out quite a lot. Because of what I've done, we do know a great deal more than we knew 15 or 20 years ago. But
Richard, talk about Otis, will you?
Well, Otis Elevator was for a time the largest elevator company in the world. They've been eclipsed now, though, by Thiessen, and I believe Thiessen is actually joined with the Krupp company. Thiessen is a German company, Thyssen, and it's a German company that's come all the way down from the Nazi era, as Siemens and some other. Nazi engineering back in the 30s and 40s was really the best in the world. And German technology to this day remains some of the best in the world, if not in some cases the best in the world. So German engineering prowess has been at a very high level really for the past century.
Didn't Otis lead the way, though, in terms of building a mile-high elevator?
For many years, Otis was the world leader in elevators. I think now, though, they have been eclipsed by Thiessen. I really do. But Otis for a long time was, and if there are high-speed elevators going deep underground, there's no question that Otis built a lot of them in past decades. But these days, I think Thiessen has probably really taken the industry lead. But whether it's Otis or Thiessen or some of the other elevator companies, and there are others as well, it's beyond dispute that you can use a high-speed elevator to go up as well as to go down. The technology is precisely identical in either case. In either instance, you're dealing with an enclosed shaft. Now, it may be an enclosed shaft headed up 1,000 feet to the top of a skyscraper in Dubai or Seoul, Korea, or New York City, or it could just as well be an elevator headed 1,000 feet straight down, again in an enclosed shaft that's going to an underground tunnel or an underground base. Now, the mining industry uses elevators, and the mining industry goes thousands of feet underground all the time, and men are routinely carried in elevators to 3,000 feet underground or more. In the copper mines, in the gold mines, in the iron mines, in the tin mines, etc., silver mines, whatever.
That's a long way down, Richard. That's a long way down.
But there are men who go underground hundreds and thousands of feet every day. When I was younger, for a brief time, I was a salt miner, and I've ridden, I've gone underground. I mean, I used to go 800 feet underground, and I'd go down with 15 or 20 men. You get in the elevator, and you go down a shaft straight down. So there are men, and some women, too, doing this every day. It's routine. It happens every day, all the time.
I didn't know you were a salt miner at some point.
Briefly.
You have many lives like a cat.
Yeah.
What about Detroit?
I worked for Morton Salt, which is now the Morton Thiokol Corporation. But the point is that what is done openly in the mining industry can certainly be done in the black world by government agencies, by military agencies, by large corporations. They just take the technology that's used for skyscrapers and reverse it. Instead of going straight up, they go straight down. And it's easy for Thiessen to do that, or any of the other elevator companies. Otis did that in the past. In fact, I was told that Otis at one time, and maybe still does, they have their own underground facility for their own corporate use. And by the way, there are corporations who do have their own underground facilities.
Do we know of any besides Halliburton?
AT&T has many underground facilities all over the country. Many of them go down 2 or 3 levels. Some of them go down 6, 7 levels or more. And that's well known. AT&T has been building, operating, maintaining underground facilities for decades.
What about the oil platforms that have elevators in their legs? I thought that was fascinating. Talk about that for a little bit.
Yes, oil platforms And there are just hundreds, if not thousands, of these now around the world, wherever you have